This video is going to be about skimming walls and ceilings, and it should be broken up into a few different areas. So basically we'll break down preparation and suction, and then obviously a little bit about mixing, a little bit about applying, a wee bit about beads, and that should cover basically all your basics of plastering on the skimming side of things. Again, you could be a plasterer, most likely a beginner, an apprentice, someone who's only starting out, or you could just be a simple homeowner. And this video is definitely going to answer a lot of questions and help you progress in your own plastering. So basically with plastering, everything starts with the preparation. It's either going to be a great job because of your preparation or a terrible job because of your preparation. So again, every wall, every ceiling, every job, they're all different. So let's cover some of the reasons why you might want to plaster a wall or a ceiling. So one, the basic reason could be cosmetic. The wall could be a bit old, haggard looking, so really you're looking for a better decoration purposes. As obviously you don't have to have walls plastered and painted. You could have bare brick, bare block if you really did want that. But obviously plastering gives you more protection of the elements of it is better insulation, and again it just looks absolutely brilliant when done well and decorated well. The other reasons, you might sort of have to replaster. You might have had leaks, you might have had a ceiling drop, again due to leaks, or plaster might be that old that it's actually fallen off, so it's actually deteriorating. It's maybe slightly unsafe as it could fall on you. Lots of reasons down that line, but basically we'll put that under deterioration. So you basically need to repair the plaster for that reasons also. So the first step you're going to know about is preparation, and you're going to want to think about a few different things when it comes to plastering. Mostly background. What is the background that I'm going to be plastering over? So obviously we're just talking about skimming here. So if you're re-skimming, you have to think about how much suction is in the wall. So suction is basically how quickly that surface will suck in and dry out the plaster, and you want to control that. So when you're preparing the wall, if it's old, it's possibly going to have a lot of suction. If it's plasterboard, it could be lower suction. If it's old plasterboard, it will actually have high suction. But if it's just a freshly plasterboarded wall, it's going to be low suction. But your preparation there is going to have to be, you're going to have to make sure you scrim tape that wall up, and you're going to make sure you want to check all the screws, and make sure everything's as straight as you want as well before you go ahead and start mixing your plaster. So really on this section, you got to really think about, before you even mix, about your PVA. You're going to have to PVA the wall. Again, most PVAs, it's very hard for me to say the ratios. Most PVAs now, you actually have to put them on pure, which sort of takes out the thinking, but it also means that we're paying that bit extra for less, really. If you do look at the back of them, most want to be put on neat. So you're going to want to put them on, paint it on, and wait till it's tacky before you start mixing. Again, plasterboard, scrim tape, check all the screws, all your angles, and you're good to start mixing. So now you have all your preparation done. Your cracks scrimmed, the wall scraped down, PVA'd, nice and tacky. If it's plasterboard, you've done all your checks and it's all scrim taped. Now we're going to talk a wee bit about mixing. Again, you could be using multi-finish, or you could be using Carlite finish, or board finish. Just depends. Again, multi-finish will cover a wide range of backgrounds, so will Carlite, and technically board finish will too if you do all the right preparation. But we'll just quickly skip over the mixing here very fast. Basically, every job is a bit different. If it's a small wall, you might want to mix it a bit tighter. You might want to mix it a bit tighter because you're not as confident with a more creamy type of mix. But again, you're gonna sort of want your mix like a custard. Not so much peanut butter, depending on the peanut butter, but peanut butter might be a bit stiff, but more like a custard sort of texture. And mix it right through cold, clean water. Make sure and clean the edges of the bucket, and then you can either use a board for your plaster to apply, or you could just scoop it up onto your hawk and apply it from there. So now we're on to applying the plaster, and it can be done with one mix, but if you are new, you might want to do it two separate mixes. So if you think the wall's going to take you a bag, you may want to mix up like a half a bag and then mix up another half. Technically, when you are doing two coats, most times if it took me a bag to scratch the wall, it'll only take half a bag to actually second coat the wall. But you know, if you're new, you might sort of be putting on two even coats, which is fine. You don't really want to go much past 3 millimeters. As a reskim, it'll be sliding, it'll not be nice to work. 3 millimeters is about what you want. Obviously you can't go that bit more, so don't panic if you're not exactly 3 millimeters. Again, it's all done by hand and by eye, so it's not right down to the absolute measurement. And when you are coating on your first coat, you want to keep it as neat as possible. Everything will follow suit after that. If you go as neat as possible now, later on when the stuff's starting to tighten, you'll be under way less pressure and you'll feel confident and calm, and you'll have a much better result in your plastering job. And that goes for the second coat as well. So if you leave it 15-20 minutes to pick up your first coat, you'll be ready to apply your second coat. And again, nice and neat. Even more so, be more fussy with the second coat than you were the first coat, as it is much more important. Now that you have all your plaster on, now is the time to clean up your mixing bucket, your mixing drill, your bucket scoop, your hawk and trowel, anything that has plaster on it. Definitely get it clean now, as later on you won't have much of an opportunity, as the tighter the stuff gets, the harder it is to clean and wash. Timings on this video, something that I've sort of always left out, but I will highlight the fact that timings are really varied, as depends on how tight you made your mix, depends a lot on weather. If it's really cold or if it's really warm, will have an effect. If there's air coming into the room, if there's doors and windows open, will also dry out the plaster. And then the major thing is the suction, the background, the wall or ceiling that you've plastered over, how quickly it will absorb the moisture out of the plaster and cause it to set. Say after 15 minutes or so, you're going to want to give in, this will be classed as your first trowel or your flattening in trowel. Just really don't need much water at this stage because the plaster's still wet to touch, and when you trowel it moves about a lot. So the first trowel here, the flattening in, you're going to want to, as I just said, you want to flatten it all in. Take out as many lines as possible. Clean angles a wee bit now as well, because if you don't do it now, it will just get tighter and tighter. So try and keep your angles all as clean as possible when you're flattening in on the first trowel here. And again, you don't need any water really on the wall. You just go around, wet your trowel, wet the blade of the trowel, just flatten it in, keep the trowel nice and flat, and get everything as smooth and filled out as possible. If there's any wee holes or voids, fill them out now. Any stones, pick them out now, as there will be a nuisance later on. And again, I like to start just as I did with coating, top left to right, and then bottom left to right, and get everything all flattened in, and then clean up your trowel after with nice clean fresh water. So now we're on to the second trowel. Again, this could be 20 minutes later, and and you can do the touch test and feel it and see if the moisture's starting to leave it, and also if there's a bit of a light coming across. You can kind of look, sometimes it looks a bit more grainy and a bit drier. So again, now you're going to want to really use some clean water, or a spray gun if you prefer that, and clean your angles. Start top left and right. The reason, well, if you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, you might want to do the opposite. Start on the right and work across, as you'll be much more comfortable. So the reason you want to start at the top is because when you trowel it and you trowel it down, you're going to trowel the water down and try and trowel it away from the area you've already troweled. And again, keep the trowel reasonably flat here, but open it up slightly more than you did for the first trowel, the flattening in. You don't want to open it up too much, otherwise you could possibly scrape the plaster right back off. But open it up a wee bit more of an angle, still reasonably flat at this stage. And again, this is the perfect time to make sure you fill out any voids, any wee holes, and take out all the lines. You don't want to have any lines or bumps or hollows after this trowel, otherwise you're going to be pretty much beat. So you're going to want to have the wall as flat and neat and tidy as possible, making sure all angles are clean, making sure down the bottom is all nice and troweled in. You're not leaving any bell casts at the bottom that will cause the joiner a nightmare to put new skirting on. And again, if you're working down to the skirting on the original house, you're going to want to make sure it's nice and clean there as well. So now that you have all that second troweling up done, you're going to probably want to have a bit of lunch or have a cup of tea. And normally I would take tea or lunch for about 30 minutes. So that gives you a rough idea of timings there. So it will sit at this stage a good bit longer because you pretty much have it finished. But for the third trowel, sometimes if it's really, really neat and tidy and it's maybe peppering, starting to turn brown a wee bit, and you're really confident that it's flat enough, you could now give it a flexi trowel with some water. But on the most for this tutorial, we're going to give it another steel trowel. Again, if you're new to the trade, a beginner, a learner, a DIYer, apprentice, you probably don't have a flexi trowel, and that's okay. This stage can still be done with a steel trowel. So just like all the previous steps, you're going to want to start top left or right, clean them angles a wee bit more. Again, you're going to want to make sure and get all the water troweled off here. Don't leave no water marks, as if there is, they don't tend to paint too well. But again, I'll show you another wee tip later on how to actually get them off, and you can't just literally trowel them off. But take as much water away, don't be leaving any water, any lines, no marks. You really are just polishing up and finishing at this stage. There should be no holes or anything left on the wall on this pass, otherwise it's going to be very hard to remedy that, and you might have to get the sandpaper out, which is not the aim of this video. The aim of this video is to have a nice painted clean wall ready for decoration. So this part is pretty much optional. By the third trowel, the wall should be flat and matte, which means it shouldn't be any holes or anything. It should be pretty much perfect, but I do like to give it a wee fourth trowel, which I call the hard trowel, and that would be with a flexi on the most. Again, you can't do it with just a steel trowel. And what I do is I just wet the blade, clean the angle, and give the wall a wee bit of a polish. But for me, it's more an inspection to make sure that I haven't missed anything. There's no fat marks, there's no dirty water marks, there's no wee pinholes or anything, so that I just know for sure when I walk away from that wall that it is perfect. And then the last thing to do, guys, is clean up and make sure the whole job's nice, clean, tidy, and ready for the painter in a few weeks' time. That about wraps up this video on this skimming tutorial. So obviously I could have broke up this video or put it on a website and tried to charge for training, but I'm happy enough to share it here and share my knowledge, stuff that I've learned over, again, lots of hard work and lots of time put in and time served. But again, more than happy to help people learn, especially the apprentices and people new to the trades coming in and trying to develop their own skills. And again, I'm more than happy if you take anything from this video, and more than happy if you take anything, improve it and apply it, and get a better result. That's what the aim of these videos are. And again, if you're interested in anything in specific in the video, you can ask questions, and there is over like 600 videos on the channel, some dedicated in beading, floating the wall ready for skim, floating set, bonding, undercoats, you name it, it's there if you want to dive into it. Even videos dedicated just for cleaning angles and getting walls straight ready. So they're all there. Easily to find on the channel. You just search for a specific thing, lots should pop up. Again, I want to just thank all the people who actually sort of donated money to the channel. With them, super thanks. It does help, and it's much appreciated, just as you all are appreciated. All your comments and all your support is always very much appreciated, guys. With all that being said, I want to dive into the tools that was used in the video and that you will need, especially if you're going to tackle any type of plastering job. So the main tools, the hawk and trowel, the water brushes, of course, as well. I did on most of these videos use the Evolution bocce powered mixing drill, which again, it's not a must. You can mix it up with a stick if you really want, but I do find mixing drills push the game on a lot. Then the Ragnai Superflex. I also do have Refina Superflexes as well, but tend to jump towards that Ragnai one very recently. Love it. Again, there's spatulas you can use, and speed skims will help improve your angles and maybe help you flatten the walls in a wee bit. They're quite helpful. And then the Refina bucket, that was the Refina stand you seen holding up the board. Bucket scoops, Spear Jackson bucket scoop is a cracker. Has lasted me a long time, so long that it actually disappeared off a job. Somebody else decided that they wanted it, so I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, it's still a good one to have. No doubt I've missed something out on this video, tools wise or methods. You just can let me know that in the comments, that's no problem. What else did we have there? A hammer is very useful for any job really. Scraper. I think I've covered the basics there, but again, if I've missed it, let me know and I'll try and improve the videos further.